Hiya folks, welcome back to another devlog for Raid Team Manager. My name is Zach, I'm the sole developer on this project, and this is a game about controlling an MMO RPG guild and trying to manage the different personalities in your team and down bosses to get loot. This week, I again have been feeling under the weather. I am still not recovered from my cold that I've had, which has been a little bit of a downer, but was able to get quite a bit done, I think, in the game. Had some great feedback last week in regards to the environment of the actual raid sim and adding more configurable options there to make the space more interesting, which I think is a great idea. I definitely want to do that. I started going down that road and I hit a couple design questions that I was unsure how I wanted to proceed on. I went in a direction um, trying to produce something that I thought was going to be appropriate, and I just ended up not liking what I was doing, and I sort of just scrapped it. So a little bit of wasted time there, but um, I'll definitely be revisiting that at some point as I try to make that area better. And so because of that, I decided I had been working quite a bit in the actual simulation in past weeks, and so I decided to mix it up and head back to the management side of the sim. And so that's what I've done this week. I focused almost exclusively on the character screen, adding a bunch of configurable options. One of the real goals I have for this project is to be able to make the characters modular and interesting. So if I open up the roster here, you'll see what I'm talking about. So I've added hair, beards, also skin color and hair color. So I'll just click through a couple of them here. Um, and I think just with these small changes, it really makes the characters a lot more interesting, a lot more varied. And so really kind of embracing that modular approach, and it's the same sort of idea that I'm using for the armor. And I think it looks pretty cool. So some of them I like better than others. I really like this guy. I think this beard came out pretty good. Um, Little ponytail thing. So all of the hair, all of the beards are independent of each other, and it just randomly selects them along with a random color, little green, kind of funny. Um, so yeah, and then same thing with skin color. So just makes the characters little more visually interesting. Gives them a little more character, I think. It was super fun to create them. Um, had a great time with that, and I think it's really helps to bring the style together. Honestly, they're looking pretty good. So spent a lot of time working on that, and then you'll see some other changes in here to this screen. The first thing I'll point out, I think, is the inventory. The 10 slot inventory down here. See, he's got 25 strength potions. Right now, the only thing that'll appear is strength and mana potions. Mana potions aren't even incorporated into the game necessarily, but they're here. And then there's some additional stats in this stat window here. Added some bars to show how strong they are in certain areas. Not all of these are hooked up to anything to actually do anything, but some of them are. So, for instance, consumable farming. This is supposed to represent how maybe skilled or interested they are in farming their own consumables when the raid is not in session. And so this number directly impacts how many potions, as of now it's just potions, they will farm in a given day. So, and it does cap out, I think, at 40. Oh, most of these guys are capped. So, see, John here has 15. If I advance the day, so there's 2 days of farming, go back to John, he's up to 30. And that's because of he has a pretty low consumable farming. This will obviously need to be tuned. Like almost everything in this game, nothing is really tuned. I'm just trying to build the mechanics, so I think it's pretty cool. And then as when you actually go into the sim and use these things, and I'll show you that, they will consume the potions. So on the general screen here, there is a new strategy to be able to pre-pot. If I choose yes and enter, and nothing happens because there's a bug. Well, that's just great. Anyway, ideally they should be consuming one of their potions, but I clearly do not have that working. I thought I did have it working. I must have introduced some kind of bug there, but that's the idea. It looks like he actually did consume something, so I probably just broke the actual application of the potion. So I'll have to get that fixed, but you can see this kind of idea. You go into the raid, you use your potions, you deplete your inventory, and then, when you're out of potions, you're out of potions. You have to farm up some more, or maybe buy some, trade some from other players. We haven't introduced those mechanics yet, but that's the idea anyway. So that's the inventory, that's the stats window. I do have a couple things going on with the guild loyalty, guild satisfaction, loot satisfaction. I'm not 100% sure if these are going to stay, but the idea is if you get loot, your loot satisfaction goes up. If you're passed over for loot, it goes down by a certain amount. So if you lose too much satisfaction, maybe that impacts you in other ways. And same thing with the loyalty and the guild satisfaction. These will be modified over time based on certain things, and they'll have various repercussions. I actually did set it up so if they're, I think it's one of these. If one of these gets too low and you, what's the trigger? Maybe to advance a day or something, they actually will send you a mail that just says, hey, like, you're not giving me enough loot. These are just pre-canned ones. So I think that's pretty cool. So that is those screens. So we'll go now. If you look on here, I got a left-hand nav menu. This is just the based one. If we click here, we've got the boss kills. Actually, in order to make this a little more interesting, I'm gonna load my save here. And they already have some armor. And you'll see, actually, the other big thing that I've done is I've added very basic support for weapons. It doesn't fully work, especially with the animations, but you can equip them, you can assign them, they'll hold them. It's just swords right now. See, this guy has really high loot satisfaction because I've been giving him some gear here, which is pretty cool if you compare that to maybe this guy, a little bit lower. Pretty cool. And then if I look at his boss kills tab, you see I've dragged him into 4 Mordith kills here. So this will reflect the. That looks like a bug too. I don't know what's going on there. But this should reflect what you have access to. So we've killed the first 2 bosses. We know about the first 2 or whatever it is. And go back here, and so he hasn't killed the second boss yet. So all of these have been on the same one. This guy hasn't done any. So it's a very individual basis. And then the next one is a log here. So this gives you a kind of a little breakdown you can look through and see what's been going on with this person. Excuse me. And so this guy, he's you can see the kills. You can see he received some loot. It also shows when he farmed up his potions. So he has very high consumable farming, so he's going to farm up a ton every day. And then right now, again, it does cap at 40, so anything excess just goes away. We'll see how that gets fleshed out over time. Again, this is an individual thing, so this guy has received 1 thing of loot, or categorized by type. We'll probably have some additional sorting and filtering options in here to, for instance, show me all the times I've received loot. Something like that. So pretty cool. I think it adds a lot more flavor to the game, gives you a lot more control and idea of what's going on. And continuing to layer mechanics on top of this kind of stuff, I think will really help to make the game more interesting. So really happy with that. One thing I do want to highlight is the way the sorting works with the helms and the beards and the hair. So, this guy has a beard, but it's covered by the mask. The hair isn't impacted. I think I have all this working. This guy, his goatee thing is not affected by this helm, but his hair is covered by it. You can see it sticking down a little bit in the back here. So that's pretty cool. So, and then this, again, this one, his goatee sort of gets clipped here. So it's trying to mimic what what you see should be in accordance to what should actually be shown based on what part of the head the gear is covering. That was the idea anyway. Yeah, that was pretty cool. I really like the beard that I made. I think it's kind of cool. So the beard hangs down, but you don't have any weird clipping going on. The coolest one in this case is when the rogue has the mask on and he has the ponytail hair, because the hair actually sorts over the helm. So this is a little bit of a departure from how the rest of the rules work, because a helm is expected to cover the hair. But in this case, the helm doesn't cover the hair. It's just covering his face, even though it is classified as a headpiece. And so it wouldn't make sense for the hair to be underneath the helm in this case, because it sort of hangs out. So this one gets sorted over the helm. So that was pretty cool. Pretty happy with that. How that looks and how that works. Yeah, pretty cool. I'll just show you. I'll go into. Let me advance the week here. I'll just go into a raid and show you what it looks like with all the different helms and gear and stuff. You see, this guy is dropping. Bring in another tank here. This guy is dropping swords, and right now just anybody can equip the same sword. See if this pre-pot works again. It should be working, but clearly it's not. So some of them have swords, but the animations are just not correct in some cases. In some cases they are, but that'll be fun to flesh that out a little more and make that a little more appropriate, and then design some more weapons. I didn't actually even build this one. It's just a icon that I had laying around from some pack that I bought at some point. So, but just from a few of these modular changes, you can see how much diversity it gives the team, and I think it makes them look so much cooler, so much more interesting, and even kind of funny in some cases. This guy with his green mustache. So, I think I built 5 beards, 5 hair cuts. Yeah, that sounds right. And I don't know, 7 or 8 colors of different things. So, yeah. So there we go. That's all I have to share for today. Really enjoyed working on this. I hadn't worked on any art in a while, so I want to try to remember to at least get in there, if not every week, every other week, to keep improving my art skills, just familiarity with the software. I think that's just the best way to get better at it. So, not sure what this week is going to bring. Definitely a lot of things that I want to continue to add to the game. Really, after thinking about it more, I really do need to make this environment more interesting. So maybe I'll get there if I can figure out how I want to implement it. Okay, cool. So thanks for watching. As always, if you have any suggestions or feedback or things you think that might be cool to get in the game, please let me know. I'd love to hear about them. I'm having a ton of fun building this, and after this week especially, it's really making me excited about the future. Get in some of this visual diversity really breathes a lot of life into the game, I think. So, okay. Well, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again for the next update of Raid Team Manager. Have a great day.